Hello and welcome to Undead Gaming News, your one-stop shop for things gaming. I'm your host Zombie, and first up this week, Insomniac Games have now confirmed that the upcoming Marvel's Wolverine will take place in the same universe as the studio's Spider-Man games. During a podcast interview, Marvel Spider-Man 2 creative director Brian Intihar was asked if Wolverine and the Spider-Man games will take place in the same universe, and he confirmed that they do, noting that they're all 1048. That of course refers to Earth 1048, the official Marvel designation for the universe Insomniac Spider games and a few spin-off comic books all take place in. If you were expecting some kind of Easter egg within Spider-Man 2 to set up the upcoming Wolverine game, there isn't one, and Brian explains why by saying,
there was a decision not to do it. I think that, I think I tried thinking about trying to make Spider-Man while also there's another, like I'm just trying to learn how to make Spider-Man or try to get Spider-Man off the ground while there's another Marvel thing I'm trying to get. I think for us it's like, hey, let's let that team cook, let them cook.
Get out of their way.
And you let them make the game they want to make. And, who knows what the future holds, but right now let's let them do their thing. And that game's going to be great.
While there have been several high-profile Marvel video games in recent years, from Marvel's Avengers to Marvel's Midnight Suns, unlike the MCU, there hasn't been much effort to get them all into a singular continuity, given the strains that community management can make on storytelling that's arguably for the best. But with the Wolverine and Spider-Man games under one studio, Insomniac's well positioned to make the most of the world-building opportunities a shared universe can offer. Speaking of Insomniac's Spider-Man 2, it's already one of the best-selling PS5 games of the year. The absence of the digital data does make the picture a little bit murky, however. Boxed sales are down significantly compared to Marvel's Spider-Man on PS4, but obviously there are more consumers buying full games from the PlayStation Store now than there were back in 2018. As such, we won't know exactly how the sequel's results compare until the digital data is included. Sales are also down 20% compared to God of War Ragnarok, but that game was available on PS4, of course meaning more potential buyers. However, Spider-Man 2 does have its issues, one of which being a Cuban flag hanging on the walls inside Miles' house, which people were quick to point out, since Miles and his family are Puerto Rican, not Cuban. Insomniac Director of Community and Marketing James Stevenson has confirmed on Twitter that the team is working to fix that mistake in a future patch. Insomniac has also previously stated that they're working on a New Game Plus mode and a mission replay feature, which are expected to be added in the game in an update later this year. The flag error will likely be fixed in a patch long before that. But in other news, New Regency Pictures and Diversion 3 Entertainment have teamed up to bring a video game adaptation of horror movie Barbarian to PC and consoles. Diversion 3 Entertainment is of course the developer behind Friday the 13th the game and Evil Dead the game, so they are continuing on their path to turn horror movies into games. Despite the multiplayer format of the studio's previous projects, this will be a single-player narrative-focused title, which will expand on the settings, characters and creatures of Barbarian. There's no release timeframe yet, but Tim Hess, who is an executive producer at Diversion 3 Entertainment, said, "We're very excited to work with the team at New Regency to expand on the settings, characters and creatures of Barbarian. The film did a magnificent job of not only scaring audiences with its unexpected and horrifying twists and turns, but also in establishing strong characters thrown into terrifying situations. We look forward to exploring these themes further in the game." If you've never heard of Barbarian, it's about a woman that finds out that the rental home she reserved has been accidentally double booked by a man, and with all nearby hotels fully booked, she has no choice but to stay in that rental home, not knowing of the dark secret within. However, in other news, I Am 8-Bit and Annapurna Interactive have announced the Annapurna Interactive Deluxe Limited Edition Collection, a limited edition physical collection of 12 of the publisher's titles on Switch. The collection is available to pre-order exclusively from I Am 8-Bit's store and comes in at $200. At the moment, the collection only comes in a limited edition, of which there is only 2,500 copies available. Of the 12 games on the cartridge, a handful have never been released physically before, and those are Hindsight, I Am Dead, If Found and Solar Ash. The rest of the collection is Donut County, Gorogoa, Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition, Neon White, Sayonara Wild Hearts, The Artful Escape, The Pathless, and What Remains of Edith Finch. The collection is due to ship in Q4 of 2023 and comes with a statement for each game from the developers, and a custom Switch case. Just remember there's only 2,500 copies on sale, so when they're gone, they're gone. But in other news, 6 years after Ark Survival Evolved left Early Access, Ark Survival Evolved's remaster has entered Early Access. Back in 2014, Ark Survival Evolved entered Early Access on Steam, and despite issues like glitches, bugs, dismal optimization and no small amount of behind-the-scenes drama, Ark became one of the most played games on Steam, and would remain that way for nearly a decade. In 2017, Ark finally left early access, and now 6 years later, in 2023, the remaster of Ark Survival Evolved has just entered early access. The Unreal 5 engine remaster is called Ark Survival Ascended, and is already out now, but of course, as revealed back in April, it will come with the price tag, even if you own the original. As for our final story, Microsoft is making some changes to its Xbox Studio structure. In an internal memo, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer said Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty is being promoted to President of Game Content and Studios, a role that will put him in charge of ZeniMax and its subsidiary studios, including Bethesda Softworks. With Phil specifically stating ZeniMax will continue to operate as a limited integration entity, led by Jamie Leder, President and CEO, reporting to Matt. All ZeniMax development studios and ZeniMax Central Services teams will continue reporting to Jamie to maintain and optimize current content development and production cycles. Also, to deepen our partnerships and accelerate mutual learning, a number of ZeniMax leaders will now report to those Microsoft leaders with whom their work most closely aligns. This restructuring has been theorized to be connected to the Redfall situation. The multiplayer FPS developed by Arcane was one of the biggest bombs of 2023. Less than 6 months after launch, only 30 people are currently playing it on Steam, and it came to light not long after it launched that Arcane was equally unenthusiastic about it. A report revealed that employees at Arcane Austin hoped that the Microsoft acquisition would result in either a reboot of the project or an outright cancellation, neither of which happened. Instead, Microsoft allowed ZeniMax to go about its business in an effort to eliminate crunch culture, which resulted in mass exodus of veteran employees from the studio, and Redfall. The restructuring comes just over a week after the retirement of Pete Hines, formerly Bethesda's head of publishing and its most public face. Among various other promotions, Phil also announced that Sarah Bond, previously Microsoft's Xbox corporate vice president, is being promoted to president of Xbox, which will include devices, player and creator experiences, platform engineering, strategy, business planning, data and analytics, and business development. That's not all from Microsoft either, as they've also detailed their earnings for the first quarter of their 2024 fiscal year, pointing to a record-breaking Q1 for Xbox gaming revenue, despite a 7% drop in hardware sales. Over the course of Microsoft's Q1 2024, which covers the 1st of July to the 30th of September, Xbox generated $3.9 billion in gaming revenue, equating to a 9% year-on-year increase, which the company attributed to strong performance from first-party titles and Game Pass. Not coincidentally, Xbox's record-breaking Q1 encompassed the long-awaited launch of Bethesda's Starfield, which surpassed 10 million players within its first few weeks of release. And in an investor call following this fiscal report, Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella, confirmed that the game provided a significant boost for Game Pass, setting the record at launch for the most Game Pass subscriptions added on a single day ever. Xbox's content and services revenue increased by 13%, but that was somewhat offset by hardware performance, where Microsoft has had less success, seeing a 7% year-on-year drop in revenue thanks to reduced console sales. Microsoft's Q1 2024 earnings report did not factor in figures from the company's recently completed $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, but the impact the long-in-the-works deal has on Xbox should become clearer as it moves into its next fiscal quarter and beyond. But that's all we have time for this week. If you have any thoughts on anything discussed this week, please leave it in the comment section below as always, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.